Alright, welcome back to the Lua introduction, and in this lecture we're going to talk about local variables. So this is just a short lecture to explain what local variables are. So what we've seen before was variables were simply written by the name, then an equal sign, and then the value that is assigned to that variable. However, what we actually want to do usually is we want to write local in front of it, and this is another keyword in Lua. And what that does basically is it limits the scope where this variable is accessible to. So let's just make an example. So in this case, of course, we can just print out what, and this simply works totally fine, right? So we're just going to print out 2, easy enough, right? That works because right now we're in the same script. That all works. If we're, for example, in an if statement, so let's say what is bigger than 1, then what we want, and inside of here, we actually have another local variable called x, and that's going to be 100. We're going to print that out, right? So now what we expect is 2, and then in the next line, we're going to print out 100. This is exactly what happens, of course. And now we say, actually, after the if statement, we want to change x, or we want to print x out again. We're actually going to get an error, because in this case, x is limited to the scope of the if statement. And as soon as this scope ends, so as soon as the end hits, the scope of the if statement ends as well, and this variable is gone. Now, it is advised to always use local for every variable that we use if we, don't use it anywhere else. So make every variable local, and then maybe there will be some times where we actually say, this time we actually wanted it global. So usually global, a normal variable like this is global by default, and we actually have to specify that it's local. I advise always put local in front of variables, and from this going onward, every variable we're going to use is going to be local, and that is basically all that there is to it. We're just going to comment this out to get rid of the error. And yeah, this is the very basic introduction to local variables. It's very important that you use this, and yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to ask. And yeah.